Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jacqui and today I'll be taking you through step by step on how to do a sun salutation. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever a new video is released. Alright, we've got a lot to get through, so let's get into it. So sun salutations are typically found in a vinyasa style practice, and there are some different versions. Today we're doing Sun Salutation A or Surya Namaskar A. And just a bit of background, Surya is Sanskrit for the sun and is also the Hindu god of the sun, and Namaskar means greeting or salute. So every time we're doing a sun salutation, we're basically greeting the sun, which I think is really nice imagery. You can imagine every time you do your sun salutation, the sun is shining down on you, you're taking deep breaths in and you're just soaking up all that warmth. And they're actually a great way to warm up and build up heat in your body. So if ever you need to warm up really quickly, just do a bunch of sun salutations and you'll be set. I'm going to show you two variations of Surya Namaskar A today, an easier one and a slightly more challenging one, and we'll be layering in our modifications in each of those depending on your flexibility and your strength. And also take note of the breathing. So that is when we breathe in and when we breathe out, because a big part of this practice is about the breath and connecting our movement to the breath. So let's head over to the mat and we'll start with the easier version first. So we'll stand at the top of the mat and feet can be underneath the hips, or you can bring the big toes to touch heels slightly apart. Take a breath in and circle the arms up to the sky, reaching through the sides of the body. And breathing out, we're folding forward. The hands come down through your heart center, knees can bend, and we come all the way down. Hands can come onto the mat or onto your shins, depending on your flexibility. And then we take a breath in and we lengthen through the spine into a flat back. So often here I see students rounding through the spine and hunching the shoulders, and we don't want to teach ourselves that. We want to open up with a nice straight spine. You want to think about lengthening through the tailbone and the crown of the head, and maybe even arching the back slightly to help you get that straight spine. Fingertips can be on the shins or on the floor, depending on your flexibility. And then next breath out, we step one leg back, doesn't matter which one, and then the other, finding ourselves in a high plank. So often here, again, I find bums up and sinking down in the shoulders. And that is not a strong position. We really want to engage the core. So tucking the pelvis slightly and contracting the core and bringing the bum down. And then we want to press the floor away with our hands so that our shoulder blades are pushing up towards the sky. We're not sinking down. And also you can think about pressing your chest away from the mat. And then here you want to externally rotate the arms. So you don't want them rotating in, but you want them rotating outwards. And your middle fingers are pointing towards the top of the mat. So here's the easy version. We drop the knees down to the mat, and then we come all the way down with our chin and our chest in between our hands, and we want to keep the elbows close to the body. So don't flare out the elbows, but keep them in. That's going to help us in the more challenging version. So here we have a slight arch of the spine. You want to think about sticking your bum up in the air. And then on a breath in, we're sliding forward with the chest. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Breathing in, roll the shoulders back, press your hands to the mat, coming into a cobra pose. So our hips are still on the mat here, and we still want to keep those elbows close to the body. Open up the chest to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Take your gaze forward. And then breathing out, we take our forehead back down on the mat and we push ourselves back onto all fours. Tuck the toes, and we find ourselves in our downward facing dog. So here we want to keep that nice straight spine. So you want to think about even arching slightly through the lower back to reach your tailbone up to the sky. And your knees can definitely bend as much as you need to here. There's no need to straighten them all the way. And then press your hands into the mat, and your shoulders can come up to your ears. That's totally normal for it to do that. And then let's bend the knees even further. Look towards the top of the mat. And then we'll take a big step with the feet, and they come all the way in between the hands. We breathe in again, and we come back to our flat back, so fingertips on the mat or on the shins. And then breathing out, we fold forward. Breathing in, we come all the way back up, circle the arms back up to the sky. And then breathing out, your hands come down to your heart center. So there is your Sun Salutation A, the easy version. Let's do that one more time together so you can really get it into your body, but we're going to move a little bit faster this time. So starting with feet hip width distance or big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Breathing in, reach the arms up to the sky. Breathing out to fold forward, knees bending if you need to. Breathing in, lift up halfway, flat back. Fingertips on the mat or on your shins, nice straight spine. Breathing out, stepping one foot back and then the other into your high plank, engaging through the core, pressing the floor away. Drop the knees down to the mat, then your chest and chin comes down, keeping the elbows close to the body. Breathing in, slide forward, untuck the toes, and open up the chest. Press your hands into the mat. Press your hips and the tops of your feet into the mat. And breathing out, forehead comes down. Press back onto all fours, tuck the toes, and lift the hips up, downward facing dog. And then we'll bend the knees, look to the top of your mat, step your feet in between your hands. Breathing in, lift up halfway to your flat back, fingertips on your shins or on the mat. Breathing out, fold forward. And breathing in, reaching the arms back up to the sky. And breathing out, hands to your heart center. Okay, so let's do the more challenging version. So it starts the same way. So again, feet can be hip width distance or the big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Breathing in, circle the arms up. Breathing out, fold forward, knees bending if they need to. Breathing in, lift up halfway, flat back. Remember to keep that spine nice and long. Breathing out, stepping back into your high plank. And everything still applies here. So the core is engaged. You're pressing the floor away. And we're coming down into our Chaturanga Dandasana. So you might want to just take a pause here and just have a look. We're shifting our weight forward over the hands as the first step, because we want to make sure that our elbows, when we come down, are going to be 90 degrees. And it's hard to do that when our weight is still back on our feet. So again, we shift forward with the weight, come down until our elbows are 90 degrees, and then breathing in, untuck the toes into Cobra pose. All right, so just take a moment here. Chaturanga Dandasana is really challenging. If you're finding it challenging, that's totally normal, totally okay. When I first started yoga, I couldn't even imagine being able to do this. It's basically a push-up, and push-ups are not easy. And I remember telling my teacher, I just don't think I have the strength to do this, and I don't think I'll ever have the strength with my noodle arms. But she told me, just keep practicing the knees down version, and eventually you'll get enough strength to do the full version. So if I can do it, you totally can. Don't give up hope, just keep going at it. So let's come back to our high plank, and let's do this together. So remember, engaging through the core, pressing the floor away, pressing your shoulder blades up to the sky, and then shifting the weight forward, and then coming down, bending the elbows. Keep the elbows close to the body, and we don't want to come down further and stick our bum up, and we don't want any waving motion either. So everything comes down in one smooth plank position, and then as we push up, we untuck the toes, straighten the elbows, and then lift the hips off the mat. So this is our upward facing dog. So Cobra, we had our hips on the mat. Upward facing dog, we're pressing the hands down and lifting the hips off the mat. And we're really engaging through the glutes and also the legs. I'm pulling up through the kneecaps, pressing the tops of my feet into the mat. Keep that same open feeling as you did in your Cobra pose. And then breathing out, tuck the toes and lift your hips up, coming back into your downward facing dog. Just hold here for a breath, catch your breath. And then bend the knees, look to the top of the mat. And then step your feet in between your hands. Breathing in to lift up halfway to your flat back. Nice straight spine here, fingertips on the mat or on your shins. Breathing out to fold forward. And breathing in, reaching the arms up to the sky. And breathing out, hands come down to your heart center. Okay, let's do that challenging version one more time together. So feet hip width distance apart or big toes touching heels slightly apart. Breathing in, circle the arms up, lengthen through your spine. Breathing out to fold forward. Breathing in, lift up halfway, flat back, fingertips on the mat or on your shins. And then breathing out, stepping one foot back and the other, high plank, engage the core, press the floor away. Keep also your neck nice and long. So we don't want to break that line in the spine by dropping it down or looking upwards. Shift the weight forward, come down, Chaturanga Dandasana, 90 degrees with the elbows. And then breathing in, press upwards, open up the heart. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. And then breathing out, tuck the toes. Lift the hips up, downward facing dog. And then bend the knees, look to the top of the mat. Step your feet in between your hands. Breathing in to lift up halfway, flat back, nice straight spine. Breathing out to fold forward. Breathing in, reach the arms back up to the sky. And breathing out, hands come down to your heart center. Okay, so I know that was a lot to take in, but just take it step by step. Maybe work on a couple of poses and then the next two and start to piece them together like this. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And remember, when you're in class, just take the variation that works best for you. It could be the easier one or the slightly more challenging one, or even a mix of both. Ignore what others are doing on their mats. This is your practice and there is no comparison and no competition. Be safe in your practice and leave the ego at the door. I promise you the strength and the flexibility are going to come the more you do it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you back here on the mat next time. Bye.